Sure, agree. I just increase it. Let me just okay, so just give me a minute, class. I'll just start it. So class, have you all downloaded the datasets? Please let me know so that I can just proceed. The proc2 datasets, make a library on that so that you can all access those datasets. So these would be the datasets that you will find over there. Is the screen visible now? I actually just changed few settings. So, Aman, can you see my screen? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, today again, what we will be starting with is we will be starting with something related to the data steps only, right? So like in the previous session, if I just give you quickly a recap, so we did something on the proc means, right? We did proc frequency, we did proc report, right? And we did the proc charts, right, in order to create some interesting charts in your this SAS. So those were the procedures that we did in the previous session. Now, taking up the things ahead, again, we will be moving towards the data preparation side, right? Yes, proc Gplot and proc Gchart that we did, right? So today, what again we will do is we will be moving on towards the data creation side. So the first thing that we will learn today is we will be learning on how to create multiple data sets from one single data set that we have. Okay, so now let me give you an example of that. So I have a data set with me that is let me just open it up. Military, right? All of you please open this data set up, military data set. Okay, can you all see this data set at your end, the military data set? Hello. Okay. See, so today, what we'll be doing is we will be learning a very important thing. So, basically today's session will be very important, and so will be the session of tomorrow. Because tomorrow we will be doing the SQL, and I'll be teaching you how to write the SQL commands on your databases as well. Okay. So in today, first of all, we will be learning about an output command. So output command is something that we have where what this does is this output command is something that is used to explicitly send something to output. Right? As the name itself, it tells that you have a data set, and like what happens generally is like in the previous case when we were doing, we learned something like this, that whenever we write data step, we create a data set, we name it, and then we say set command, and whatever the data set I want to use, so I use that, right? And then when we write run, okay, at the time of run, when the code reaches the run command, it is then that the data is written into this data set that you create. Okay, that is when the data set is created. So now, but with the help of output command, what will happen is, so Akriti, so like what I'm trying to tell you is like when you create a data set, okay. So you say suppose you wanted to create a data set, and finally using an existing data set itself, right? You had a pre-existing data set. Using that, you wanted to create a new one. Now, when is this data set created? So this data set is created. I mean, I will say when is the data loaded into this data set? When the code reaches the run command, it is then when this data set is actually created. Okay. If suppose you didn't write any run command, so what will happen is it will go into that infinite the loop where the code will not end and you will not get that data to be created. Okay, that is what the use of run command is, so that the code can be successfully executed and your output can be created. Now what we can do is we can actually use an output command, and with the help of output command, what we can do is in the middle of the code, okay, in the middle of the code itself, wherever if I want that a particular data should be sent to maybe a data should be sent to a new data set, or a new data set should be created anywhere in the middle of the code itself. So with the help of an output statement, I will be able to achieve it. Okay, so I'll just show you an example of it so that you can all understand it in a much better way. Now, say suppose what I want is I have a military data set with me, right? I can see a column of type, code, city, state, and all. What I want to do is, it's a simple function, right? What I want to achieve over here is that from this one single data set that we have, from this one single data set, I want to create multiple data sets. Okay, I want to create a data set in which a data set by the name Air Force, in which I should only have the data of Air Force. Then I want to create a data set just with army rows. I want to create a data set with just with the naval rows, right? So I want to create different data sets for the different type of militaries that I have in my one single data set. Okay, so let us see how we will achieve it. So from one single data set, I want to create multiple data sets over here. So I will start like this, data. So whenever we start with the data set, that means I am creating a new data set. But in this case, I am creating 4 new data sets, right? So if you will see, one data set of naval, one of army, one of air force, and one of marine. So we have 3 data sets, 4 data sets that I have to create, right? So what I will do is I will say data. One, I want to create army. I want to create marine. I want to create the air force, and I want to create, there was one more, air force, army, naval, right? And naval. So I will give all the 4 data set names that I want to create right in the first step itself. Then I am saying set military, because what I want to do is, using this data set of military, I want to create 4 different data sets over here. Okay. Now, according to you, what condition should I use in order to separate these data sets? Can anyone of you suggest me what is the condition? Where? Okay, so Samir, where is something I won't be able to use it, because if you see, actually I have to check a condition, right? If the type is equals to army, then the data should go into army data set. If the type is marine, it should go into the marine, right? So if is the command that I should be using, right, Mohsin? So your answer is correct. So what I will do is I will say yes, right, Jatin. So we need to mention the library of military. So that is prog2.military. Thanks for this. Otherwise, would have got an error. Now I will say if type is equals to army, okay, then see, the moment what I am doing now is I am going row by row, right? What if condition does is, if condition will check every row over here, right? It will come to the first row, it will see, okay, if type is equals to army, what should happen in that case? If the type is army, I want the row should go into which data set? It should go into the army data set, right? So I will say then output army. Right over here itself, what will happen is, the moment it will see type as army, the row will be sent to this data set, and this data set will be created. Okay. Then what I say is, I can put another condition. Either I can use else if. I can say else if type is equals to marine, then what I want is, then I want the output to go to the marine. As simple as that, right? Again, you can use, so actually you will not use else if. We will actually, what we are doing is, we will have to use if command over here everywhere. I'll tell you why. If type is equals to marine, then output should go to marine. So if you want, we can simply copy these statements instead of writing too much over here. And this, saying if type is equals to marine, else if type equals to marine, output goes to marine over here. Else if type is equals to uh, naval, then output goes to the naval. 1, 2, 3. So I do not need this command. Else the output goes to Air Force. So I can write it like this, right? So let us run it. Oops. So okay. So you can see 4 data sets are now created over here. This is Air Force, this will be all Army, and there we are. Okay, are you all able to create this? So Akriti, so if you see over here, this output, what this is doing is, it is helping us, create the new data sets, right? The data set data is being pushed into the different data sets, right? So you see over here, with the help of this output, data is being pushed into new data set over here, which is being created when this code is being executed.
Main concern is that like ठीक है हम लोग अपने डेटास बनाए and output वहाँ चला गया Hello? Sir, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir. So my main concern is, like as you told, output command helps us to like to create a data set before run command, right? So but इधर हम obviously हम run command दे रहे हैं तभी सारे data sets create हो रहे हैं तो मेरे को वो concept नहीं समझ आया.
See, basically, when you say run command, right? So this is like from data to run. This is the complete code that you have, right? So with the run, it understands that the data, the code is ending over here. Okay, that is what you do with this run statement. What this output, what it does is, so in this case, it is explicitly sending in the output even before the run command to create the new data sets over here.
Okay, that is internal.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
So now, with this, let us move ahead. So I hope you all have created this data set. Now there are certain things that you can control as well. So Jatin, you are saying all created working except okay. So might be there would have been some spelling mistake. Probably. So now what we will do is, like, now there could be also a requirement that, say suppose the dataset army that you are creating, right? In that dataset you want specific columns, right? Say suppose in the army you only want to keep the column type and city. So that is one requirement. And in the marine dataset you want to keep specific columns, say suppose that is city, state, country, and time, right? So it could be anything, right? But you want to keep different columns over there. So how we can control that? So in that case, you can also define the keep or drop. Remember we did keep and drop statements, which we were using inside this data set, where we were trying to kind of tell that which columns you want to keep. So you can use it over here as well. So if I say drop equals to type, okay, and against the marine data set, I say, uh, sorry, no. So drop equals to type. So I just want to drop the type column. So over here I say key type. Key equals to type. So over here, what I'm doing is I'm stating that I only want to keep the column type over here, and rest all will be deleted. So you can control what rows and columns you want to keep, and which one do you want to delete from there by writing simply with the same dataset name over there what you want to keep as a drop in that state. And if you want to state multiple variables, you just have to put a comma. So I say drop type and city. So these two will be dropped. If I say keep type and country, so only these two will be kept. So if I rerun these data sets, so the army, so the other two are dropped, right? And in the marine, you will find only two columns, type and country. Similarly, if you want, you can control the number of observations as well. Say suppose right now by default what will happen is it will all the rows are being consumed over here, right? Like when you are creating these data sets, the data sets that we just created. So when I was using set prop.military, so all the rows from this data set have been used, and they are being then divided into the different data sets. Say suppose you do not want to use all the rows. So what you can do is over here itself you can define something as OBS equals to 25. Okay, if you define OBS equals to 25, what it will do is it will only pick the first 25 rows from the data set. Okay, from that prop to, if I go back to this prop, the military data set, it will pick only first 25 rows, and based upon that, it will do that bifurcation. So you can control if the data set is big and you do not want to consume all the rows for that data preparation. So you can limit that as well. Okay. And similar to OBS, you can use another command that is first OBS. So you can use the command first OBS. So what is that command? It is a command where you can define that the data set, the data in this base SAS data set, from where do you want the SAS to start reading the data? So if you say first OBS equals to 25, the SAS will start reading the data from here. It will skip the first 24 rows over here. So you can define the first OBS if you want to read the data somewhere from the middle, and you can define OBS how many observations do you want. And these options that you have just told you over here, this first OBS and OBS options, you can use these options in your prop print also. Right, when you say prop print data equals to any data set that you use and you want to print only selected rows, so you can control that as well with the So any questions here? Hello, yeah, class, can you all hear me? Hello? Sorry, okay. So, what I was trying to tell you over here was, I was just trying to tell you that uh, if you want to control the observations, right? Like, for example, you want to see 25 observations, so you can use the command that, from this base data set, from where the data is being read, that only the, first 25 observations should be read from there. Okay, and if you want to, if you want to say that, you want to start reading, if you want to start reading the data from that 25th observation, so you can define that as well. Okay.
So just to be clear, so if I type OBA obs, so that will mean first 25 rows.
Right. Right.
And if I will type first obs equals to 25, then the data will start from 26th row or 25th row.
Right.
26th.
No, so if you say first row equal to 25, correct? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So when you say first OBS equals to 25, the data will be read from the 25th row.
Okay. So first, it will not be counting the first 24 rows. Okay, sir.
Yes, it will skip that.
And as Jatin asked, no, Samir has asked, what if we want to choose it at random?
Okay.
I also have the same question.
Okay. So, you will find this thing very interesting. I mean, random function is something that is available across all the different languages that you have, right? Like probably you might would have used random function in your R also, you have it in the Python, and the same is the function that you have in the SAS as well, right? So what you can do is there is a function that is RAND, right? So that function can be used to pick up the random number of rows from a given data set. Okay, so there's a function that we have to use.
So can you just type it? RAND, just type it, sir, just to be sure.
Right, so
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So now the next thing that we will see now over here is this is something that is called as summarizing the data. Okay. So what do we mean by summarizing the data? Okay. So like summarizing the data, if I give you an example from this data set. Okay. So what we will be doing is I will pick up the data set that is this day sales. So I will be teaching you how to accumulate and summarize the data. There are two things that we will be studying. So the thing that we do now is that is one is summarizing the data and another is accumulating the data. Okay. So first of all, let's focus on this accumulating the data, and then we will come to the summarization. So summarization is also very important. Both the topics are important over here. Okay. So when I say accumulating the data, what do I mean by that? So this is something that we have done in the last session also when we were doing the proc frequency. Okay, so similar kind of a stuff we will be doing over here now. So if you see, I have a data set with me that is day sales. Okay, it's a very simple data set, just two columns. I have a column of date and I have the sales. On this date, I had a sale of this much amount. On this date, I had a sale of this much amount. What I want to achieve over here is that I want to accumulate the sales amount. That okay, on this day one, I had a sale of this. On day two, I want to see this plus this cumulative sum. Okay, so this is something that is called as accumulation of the data, right? You are carrying forward the past data as well and then adding up the next data to it. Okay, so this is something we will see, and this is a very favorite question in the interviews as well. And the question goes like so there is a statement that is called as retain statement that we use in order to achieve that kind of a the end result. So retain is a statement, and there's a 110% question that will always be asked in the interview, that why do we use retain statement. So let us see how do we use it, and let us get it started. So what we will do over here is I'll show you in order to use this. So what I want to do is I have a data set day sales. I will create a new data set. Let us call it as day sales 1 or 2, whatever you want to write it. Maybe you can leave it as data day sales as well, because at which ways it will be created in your work library. I will say set command. I will say set, and the data set that I want to use is that is proc 2 dot day sales. This is the underlying data set that I have to use over here. Okay. Now what I will do over here is I want to create a new column, right? I want to add a new column in this where I should be able to see over here. I should be able to see my total sales, which is getting accumulated, right? Day by day, I want to see that accumulation. So does anyone know that what do we generally call this term in the financial terminologies? Does anyone know? Like if I'm accumulating the sales day on day, what do we call it? So there are certain terms that we use. That is like if I'm accumulating this sales day wise, this plus this, likewise plus this plus this. There is a specific term that we use for that. If anyone is from that reporting background or for the financial domain, they might be knowing it. Term is something that you all would have heard of it. YTD. Have you all heard this term? YTD, MTD, QTD. Have you heard it? Right. So year to date. Okay, this is this is full form. Year to date, month to date, quarter to date. What do you actually mean by this? YTD, MTD, and QTD. What do you mean by this? What is QTD? If I ask you, what is QTD? I mean, that is a full form, right? Quarter. So what is quarter to date? Right. So QTD is called as your quarter by quarter, the accumulation of the sales. Like for example, in every year we have 4 quarters, so we will have 4 QTD numbers with us. Okay, what was the total sales in the Q1, then Q2, Q3, and Q4? Right? You all, the people who regularly watch some financial news channels or the stock markets, you will always see over there they always show you some comparisons, right? Like for example, कि मारुति का Q2 में sales Q1 से ज़्यादा हुआ, right? You all would have heard this news a lot, right? Compared to previous year's Q2, and if I compare this year's Q2, so in this year Q2 the sales were lower. So तो ये आपने बहुत देखा होगा, राइट? दिस इज समथिंग दैट इज वेरी कॉमन एंड दिस इज वेरी फ्रीक्वेंटली रिपोर्टेड इन द रिपोर्ट्स। तो आप जिस भी डोमेन में जाओगे, यहाँ पे डैशबोर्डिंग में रिपोर्ट्स पे काम करोगे, तो ओवर देयर यू विल बी यूजिंग दिस टर्म्स YTD, MTD, QTD वेरी एग्रेसिव। YTD is something पूरे ईयर का सेल, राइट? इज अब now this YTD is something that is very very subjective. I mean when I say subjective, देखो आपके 2 years, I'm just giving you some out of the the context information which might help you over here as well. एक होता है आपका like one is like calendar year, दो चीजें होती है, राइट? One is called as CY, that is called as calendar year, और एक होता है आपका FY जिसको आप बोलते हो fiscal year. Okay, like calendar year क्या है इंडिया का? What is the calendar year for India? Jan to December. And what is the fiscal year? April to March, right? That is the fiscal year, right? तो अगर आप fiscal year की बात करोगे तो fiscal year के quarters अलग होंगे और calendar year के quarters अलग, right? So हर कंपनी का कई बार इसी तरीके से like this is the fiscal year of Indian government, लेकिन ऐसी कुछ कंपनीज होती है, हर कंपनी के अपने रूल्स होते हैं। कुछ कंपनीज में fiscal year आपका जुलाई से स्टार्ट होता है, राइट? जुलाई टू जून। कुछ कंपनीज में वो सितंबर से भी स्टार्ट होता है, तो कुछ कंपनीज में वो जून टू जैन टू दिसंबर भी होता है। तो डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द कंपनी दे फॉलो द डिफरेंट फिस्कल ईयर्स। ओके, नाउ सेम थिंग आई वुड लाइक टू अचीव ओवर हियर। अभी ये मेरा डेटा डेली बेसिस पे है, राइट? ये मेरा डेटा डेली बेसिस पे है। अगर मेरा डेटा डेली बेसिस पे होता तो हम एमटीडी निकाल सकते हैं। आई कैन नॉट फाइंड the QTD और I cannot find the YTD over here in that case, right? QTD निकालने के लिए मेरे पास मंथ लेवल पे डेटा होना चाहिए कि मैं मंथ टू मंथ ऐड करूंगा, फिर मैं अपना QTD निकालूंगा। और मेरे को YTD निकालना डेफिनेटली उसके लिए information होनी चाहिए। So I will add up all the months, or if I have all the quarters, so I will add up all the quarters and I will achieve my YTD in that case. Okay, so over here what I will do is I will find the MTD in this case now. So let us see and let us create that. So I will say MTD equals to, see this is the name of the column that I'm giving. मैं एक नया column create कर रहा हूँ, MTD. MTD is equals to, and what is that MTD that I will be using over here? That will be MTD plus my sales. So the column name is sales. Let me just validate it first. Sales amount. Sale amount, and I will say run. Okay, so let me explain you what I've done over here. I have defined that अब मेरे को इसमें ऐड करना है, राइट? इफ आई जस्ट थिंक इट जस्ट फ्रॉम अ मैथमेटिकल पर्सपेक्टिव, मैं कहां से ऐड करना स्टार्ट करूंगा? मैं ऐड करना यहां से स्टार्ट करूंगा या यहां से स्टार्ट करूंगा? फ्रॉम वेयर विल आई स्टार्ट ऐडिंग द नंबर्स? राइट अमन, सो वी विल स्टार्ट ऐडिंग द नंबर्स फ्रॉम हियर। ओके, तो अब क्या कर रहा हूं मैं? एक नया वेरिएबल क्रिएट कर रहा हूं, राइट? आई एम क्रिएटिंग अ वेरिएबल बाय द नेम ऑफ MTD। तो मुझे क्या करना पड़ेगा? उस MTD वेरिएबल की एक इनिशियल वैल्यू क्या लेनी पड़ेगी? 0, राइट? क्योंकि जब मैं उसको फर्स्ट लेवल पे प्लस करूंगा, इट विल बी MTD इक्वल टू 0 प्लस सेल अमाउंट, राइट? 0 प्लस सेल्स अमाउंट से मेरे को क्या मिलेगा? 498। और अगली बार मैं क्या लूंगा? 498 प्लस 946, जो भी मेरा नंबर आएगा प्लस 9994। Am I right in saying that? Okay, so what I want is हर लेवल पे क्या होना चाहिए मेरे पास? एक तो इनिशियल वैल्यू चाहिए मुझे 0, और सेकेंडली हर रो में मेरी जो प्रीवियस सम आया था वो रिटेन होता हुआ चलना चाहिए, राइट? जो भी नंबर मेरा पिछले रो में था वो रिटेन होकर अगले में ऐड हो जाए, फिर वो रिटेन होकर अगले में ऐड हो जाए। सो दिस इज समथिंग दैट आई वांट टू अचीव इन दिस केस। सो व्हाट आई विल डू इज आई विल से while writing the code, I will define. So while writing this code, I will say जो मैंने ये statement लिखी है ये सेम रहेगी, but इससे पहले मुझे एक clause डालना पड़ेगा retain mtd 0. ओके, तो मैंने क्या किया, मैंने जो वेरिएबल mtd जो मैं क्रिएट कर रहा हूँ यहाँ पे, लेट मी राइट इट इन द कैप्स ओनली ताकि कंफ्यूज ना हो. ओके, आई एम सेइंग जो मेरा वेरिएबल mtd है वो रिटेन हो, हर रो में उसकी वैल्यू रिटेन होती जाए, और उसकी इनिशियल वैल्यू भी मैंने यहाँ पे डाल दी कि उसकी इनिशियल वैल्यू 0 होनी चाहिए. अगर मैं उसको 100 डाल दूंगा तो उसकी इनिशियल वैल्यू 100 होगी, तो वो 100 प्लस फर्स्ट वैल्यू करेगा, राइट. सो आई एम इनिशियलाइजिंग इट्स वैल्यू एज 0 ओवर हियर, and since I have written retain, so what this will do is it will keep retaining its value when it goes to the next row over here. So like if you see what is frequency, right? What is frequency? Frequency is something that is used for the purpose of counting. Okay, तो वहां पे सिर्फ आपको count मिलेगा, and this is over here we are not counting, we are adding up the numbers. Okay. Yeah, that is what I'm saying, right? So in the proc frequency, right? Proc frequency का मतलब क्या होता है, right? When you create a histogram, it shows you a frequency distribution. मतलब count दिखाना, right? Frequency का मतलब होता है count दिखाना. Over here, I am not, kind of counting the stuff. तो वहाँ पे वो आपको by default उस count का एक percentage दिखाता है. Cumulatively, it shows you that percentage over there as a part of that count that you are taking up over there. तो उसका मेन पर्पस जो आपको चार्ट में जो आपको प्रॉप फ्रीक्वेंसी होता है उसका मेन पर्पस ये होता है कि व्हाट काउंट ऑफ डिफरेंट वैल्यूज दैट यू हैव, एंड एज एन एडिशनल फीचर ओवर देयर उन्होंने वहाँ पे आपको क्यूमुलेटिव फ्रीक्वेंसी परसेंटेज दिया हुआ है कि हर नंबर का परसेंटेज कितना आ रहा है, राइट. आई मीन फ्रॉम दैट टेक्निकल टर्म्स इफ यू विल ट्राई टू सी, आपको लॉजिक थोड़ा वैसा लगेगा, बट इट इज जस्ट दैट द पर्पस इज एंटायरली डिफरेंट, राइट. लाइक बार चार्ट आप एक क्रिएट करते हो और एक हिस्टोग्राम क्रिएट करते हो, दोनों काउंट दिखा सकते हैं, बट दोनों का एक पर्पस डिफरेंट है, राइट. So now what I'll do is let us run this. See, this is what it is. It's very simple. If you just run this command, what you will notice is your day sales will be created. Let me check which error to nahi aaya. So it is created. Let us go to the work library and check it. And if I open up day sales, so there is something that has gone wrong. So MTD sale, okay, मेरे column का नाम गलत चला गया. वो sales amount नहीं था, वो sale amount था basically. This is sale amount. So Aman, the data has not identified the month over here, right? क्योंकि month हमारे पास यहाँ पे data में है ही नहीं. वो तो हमने अपने just for our own purpose, I have given the name as MTD, right? जो हम column create कर रहे हैं उसको मैंने एक नाम दिया है MTD क्योंकि मेरे पास यहाँ पे 1 month का data है. तो ultimately last row में आकर मुझे उस day पूरे month का एक overall total मिल जाएगा, right? So this name that I have selected, that can be anything. I can choose it any which ways. हेलो, राइट. जब आप MTD भी कैलकुलेट करते हो,
that's why I'm asking, sir. My main purpose in that you are doing the MTD month to day, right? There are 2 months in there.
आपकी आवाज एको हो रही है.
Wait a minute. Now I am audible. So the thing that I want to says we are doing the MTD month to day, right? मतलब
Right.
कि इस मंथ के अंदर कितनी सेल हुई है हमारी, ठीक है। अब यहाँ पे हमने टोटल कर दिया क्यूमुलेटिव, बट हमें तो मंथली रिपोर्ट चाहिए इसमें।
तो उसमें क्या होता है ना, the thing that you are asking me over here, it is nothing, it is this topic that we will be just discussing, right? इसको बोलते हैं summarizing the data. Okay, that is the point we will be discussing over there. उसमें हम क्या करते हैं बेसिकली, उसमें हम आउटपुट कमांड का भी यूज करेंगे। उसमें मुझे करना क्या है, देखो अब लॉजिकली देखोगे तो बस तो योर क्वेश्चन इज वेरी स्मार्ट क्वेश्चन ओवर हियर एंड वेरी लॉजिकल इज वेल। सो यू सी ओवर हियर, अभी मेरे पास 1 महीने का डेटा था, ठीक है। सो व्हाट आई एम डूइंग ओवर हियर इज, वो पूरा कॉन्सेप्ट ही पूरा डिफरेंट हो जाता है आपका, जो मुझे पूरा समझाना है आपको मैं समझाऊंगा, बट आई एम जस्ट गिविंग यू जस्ट टॉप इट कि जब ये जैसे 30 डेज हुए उसके बाद क्या होना चाहिए, राइट? आप समझ रहे हो, अगर आप लॉजिक देखोगे, ये सपोज करो ये मेरा पूरा मंथ जैन 30 डेज है ना इसमें, जो ये सपोज करो मेरा मंथ अप्रैल का है, ओके, ये मंथ मेरा अप्रैल का है। और इसके नीचे जब जहाँ पे दोबारा जो 31 रो आएगा वहां पर वो क्या होगा, वो डेटा स्टार्ट हो जाएगा मेरा इसका अप्रैल मई का, राइट? मैं गलत बोल रहा हूँ, हाँ मई का डेटा स्टार्ट हो जाएगा, राइट? मई में 31 डेज होते हैं आपके। अब मई का जब डेटा स्टार्ट होगा तो वहां पर क्या होगा ना, ये जो रिटेन वाला जो हमने वेरिएबल डिक्लेयर किया था उसकी वैल्यू हमें दोबारा से इनिशियलाइज करनी पड़ेगी 0, राइट? क्योंकि अब जब मंथ मई स्टार्ट होगा तो वो वैल्यू दोबारा से ऐड होनी स्टार्ट हो जानी चाहिए, राइट? सो दिस इज समथिंग दैट आई विल बी कमिंग टू एट, राइट? वही चीज अभी समरी में डिस्कस करेंगे, उसी का एक तरीका होता है करने का। और हम क्या करते हैं फिर उस केस में, जब हम समरी रिपोर्ट क्रिएट करते हैं उस केस में हम ये सारा डेटा तो रखेंगे ही, हमें इस डेटा की जरूरत ही नहीं है, हमें सिर्फ इस रो से मतलब है, राइट? कि भैया अप्रैल के मंथ में लास्ट में कितने की ओवरऑल सेल्स हुई थी, मुझे डे वाइज सेल्स नहीं चाहिए, राइट? आई एम नॉट इंटरेस्टेड इन दिस, आई जस्ट वांट ओनली दिस रो। ऐसे ही फिर मे का पूरा एक्यूमुलेट करेंगे और उस मे का लास्ट को पुल आउट कर लेंगे। So this is something that I will be just telling you in the next session. Okay. So are we all good on this? What I have done? So please just see this code if you want. If you have any doubt, let me know. So I can share this code as well for the benefit of all of you.
Sir, just to confirm one thing, like for the third line in the code, we are writing retain MTD 0. That means that by what we are writing, what I can understand is that after every calculation, our MTD will be 0.
No, अभी तो that we have not come to that point. सिर्फ मैं एक बैकग्राउंड सेट कर रहा था मल्टीप्लिकेशन। यहाँ पर क्या होगा,
I want to ask what is the significance of third line?
This one.
Yes.
Right? This is what you're asking. See,
right.
The significance of this is, if you see this statement that I have, MTD equals to MTD plus sales amount. Okay.
Right.
So in this case, this variable MTD is something which is, not accumulating or retaining the values. It will behave like that. The MTD is one column and it has to create another column by the name of MTD, in which it has to add MTD plus sales amount.
A lot.
Is it better now?
Yeah.
Okay. See, what I'm doing over here, this is like a normal calculation that I have written, that A equals to, I'm simply defining over here. If you just see this command, I'm saying A equals to A plus C, right? So in this case, the value of A is not being retained, right? I'm not sure if you all wrote that code of factorial. Did anyone of you write that factorial code in the R or Python, where you have to calculate that factorial of a 5 or 7 or 10, something like that? So I'm not sure if you've done that. Basically, what we do is like, So in this case, I want that when the the SAS is going to the next row, it should take the value of MTT, the past value with it.
Sir, your
It
voice,
should retain it,
sir,
right? कि मेरी last row में
sir,
क्या
again your voice, sir, your voice is not at all clear. The moment you are explaining the main part, the voice is gone.
voice is not clear.
Not at all.
Okay. Just give me a moment. Hello class, is it better now? Voice.
Now it's fine.
Okay. So my voice is coming with an echo. ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है. Okay. So yeah, Akhiru, you were asking a question. Please go ahead. Sorry. Like if I just tell you that your question was on the MTD part.
Yes, sir.
Right. So like this is what you were asking, right? That why are we defining something over here?
Right.
Right.
And like by defining retain MTT zero, that does that signify that at every step, at every calculation, my MTT will back to be zero, or like
No, it will not
what
be
is
back to the
it
zero.
trying to zero,
No.
like what is it trying to
See.
say?
Right. Okay. See, first of all, it will do two things. This retain statement is something that will do two steps for us. And let me write it. First step is initial value. It will assign its initial value, which will be equal to 0. Okay, so it will assign that we have a variable and its value is 0. This is something that we are doing over here. Correct? And then what we are saying is it has to retain the value, like as the name itself tells, right? To hold that value to the next row. So my initial value was 0. Then what happened is it comes over here, 0 plus 498. You get 498. Then 498 plus 1444, that will give you, I mean, whatever that big number will come up. So you can see it over here. So let us I'm already seeing that data set only. So 498 plus 946, that gives you 1444, right? Now this 1444 plus 994, that gives you 2439. Now making sense? Okay. Now, in order to write this retain statement, we have one more way of writing the same thing. I mean, it is just a different way, right? So I'll show you over that way is, if I just write this code over here. Hello? Yeah. All are not able to hear me? Okay. So the another way of writing the same thing is, state like this also. Remove this. Remove. You can do is you can write this statement like remove this. If you just write it like this, mtd task that is done. In case you will not have mtd the first the variable that has plus sale amount. Okay, so it will automatically initialize the mtd as 0 and it will retain it. Getting it? If you write the statement other way around, if you write it like this, sale amount plus mtd, it will not work. So there is a format that you will have to remember. If you write it like this, mtd, it will not work. It has to be in the same fashion the way I have written it over here. So it will automatically, under the SAS will understand that we are trying to work with the retain variable over here. Okay. Right. So class, what I can do is I think is let's take a quick 10 minutes of a break and let's start after that. Right. So let's start at 6:15 and then we will start with the summarization of the data. Okay. So let's connect at 6:15.
सर आई एम सो सॉरी, आपका आज बहुत ज़्यादा वॉइस इश्यूज आ रहे हैं. सो व्हाट डिड यू एक्सप्लेन द लास्ट?
So in the last, so Akriti, I was telling about this the retain command, right? So the one way of writing the retain command was this, where I explicitly mentioned that retain mtd and its initial value has to be 0. Okay, and the same thing I can write it in this way also, that straight away I'm writing just this mtd plus sale amount. If you write it in this way, so SAS will understand that you are trying to create a retain variable and it will automatically initialize its value also as to 0. Okay. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Hi, class. Are we all back? Okay. So I have got yes, yes. Okay. So I see. Okay. So let us start with that, and we will now start with something that we were talking about. That is your uh, the over here. That was the summarizing the data, right? So what we will do over here is, let me open up a data set. Uh, Okay, so now this is what the data set that I have, right? So like Aman, the question that you were asking, so this is exactly based upon that. Okay, so let me ask you, like, did you do that group by statement? Anyone knows group by statement? The people who would be good with the SQL or they know SQL, they would be knowing about group by statement. Or you might would have done it in your R as well in the dplyr package, right? So when you would have done your dplyr package, yeah, so in the Python also you have it. In the R, like I'm not very good with the Python. In the R you have dplyr package. Over there also you have that the group by command that you can use. So what do you basically group by? Something that comes from your the part of correct, right? So why do you use to group by is something that is a command that comes from your the SQL. Okay, tomorrow when we will be starting with the SQL, I will show you that group by command over there also. And what is the purpose of that group by? Does anyone know? Right, so grouping the variable categories and seeing some summarized data based upon that. Correct. Now if you see over here, we have three columns. I have the employee ID, I have the salary, and I have the division. Okay. Now, class, are you all also facing some voice breakage issue? So I'm getting combined mixed answers. Yes, no, yes. Although I'm using a proper internet connection, I'm not sure why this challenge is happening. Just give me a moment. Let me just try to change the network. Okay, so let me know if is it fine now? Is it better somehow? I mean, I'm not sure if it come breakage happens after a bit of a time. Okay, so just change my Wi-Fi network. So yeah, I was on this data set. So what I want to do is I have the employee IDs, I have their salaries, and I have their divisions. What I want to achieve now is basically I want to group the data. I want to see what were the total salaries that were distributed in each division. Okay. So I am saying like I have the human resource, finance, operations. So we have variety of divisions over here. I want to find out the total salary that I gave in the human resource, total salary that I gave in the finance, total salary that I gave in the operation. So this is something that I want to achieve over here. So how we will do it? Let us see that. So in order to do that grouping of the data, what you have to do is, first of all, you have to sort this data. Okay, you have to sort this data based upon that column on which the grouping is required. Okay, so let us do this. First of all, I will have to run the proc sort. I will say proc sort data equals to, my data set is proc2 dot emp salaries out equals to we will say this uh, the new data set that we will be getting, let us call it as emp cells only. Okay, So proc sort data equals to proc2 dot emp cells out equals to this. Then I'll say I want the data to be sorted by a division. That is, the column name is div, right? So if I just show you this, this is the name of the column div. I want the data to be sorted based upon this. So then I will simply type run and let us create it. So I have got this data set, EMP sales sorted, app tops, finance, human resource, likewise. Okay, have you all done this sorting for the data? So now you know what we will be doing over here is we will be doing the steps over here. So let me first of all explain you the logic that what we will be following over here. So what I will do is I am saying I want to create a data summary. I'm just calling that table as summary over here. I am saying set command. Which data set do I want to use? I want to use EMP cells. Okay. Now over here, right? Does anyone remember that we used a by command somewhere? Where do you think we used that by command? So if you remember, we use this by command in merge, right? So merge, we used to combine the two data sets and by, right? So group not, I mean, I was referring to the SAS, and we also used the by command in the proc print also, right? When you wanted to show the output on the different pages, right? So we used to say by a particular variable. So we used it over there as well. Now I can use that by command over here as well. So I will be using the by command over here. So I will say by div, okay, and I will say run. So the code is not complete yet. I will just like to tell you what happens over here. Now the moment I have written by div, okay, in the background, okay, in the background, what SAS will do is SAS will actually generate let me just share my screen. Okay, just give me a moment. Okay, so the moment I've written by over here, see how do I have the data? I have the departments, right? AP tops, so I have the division, AP tops, which is coming multiple times, and then I have the finance, which is again coming multiple times. That's it. Okay, what I will do is I'm just using two commands over here, and salary is okay. This is the data that I have. So the moment I have written a by command, what will happen is in the background, SAS will actually generate two temporary variables. One will be first dot div and another will be last dot div. Okay, first dot div because I have written the by command on the division column. So that is why the column names will be first dot div and last dot div. And what are the values you will get in them? Let me tell you. So if you see this division AP tops, right, the operations, right, airport operations, this value is coming for the first time, correct? So first dot div will become 1. Is it coming the last time? No, right? So I will say 0. Okay. Now again, is this value coming for the first time? So I would like to hear from you. Is this coming for the first time or the last time? No. So this will be 0 and this will be 0. Same will happen up till here. The same thing will come up till here. And when the moment you get the last AP tops, what I will do is this will be 0, but this will be 1. Okay, we have what we are doing is we are just seeing the first and the last value, right? That is what we are seeing. If it is coming for the first time, this variable, kind of switches to true, and all other get false. So this is not the first time, not the last time, not the first time, not the last time. And likewise, if I come to the last row of the AP tops, over here, last dot div becomes 1 and this becomes 0. Is it making sense? What I've written over here, all of you? Okay. Now, same thing will happen over here as well. In the finance also, what will happen is, now finance is coming for the first time. So this will become 1. This will be 0. Right? So now same way, this will become 0 and 0. And what will now happen is, this will come up till here as 0. And the last value, this will be 0 and this will be 1. Okay. Now, what is the logic that I will have to create? I am saying if my first dot division is equals to 1, okay, what should happen is my retain variable should start accumulating the values. It should start accumulating the values. And the moment it sees the last dot 1, it should throw that row into the output. Sorry, I just had got an important call. I just had to take that up. Sorry. So yeah, so I was just explaining you over here, right? So what the logic we will follow is, I am saying if the first dot div is 1, it should start accumulating. The moment it sees the last dot div as 1, it should throw that row. It should throw that row into the new data set. Okay. And then again, when it sees the first dot div as 1, it should start again accumulating. And the moment it sees the last dot div as 1, it should throw that row into the output. So ultimately, I will get, this rows into the output where I will be getting the final total. Making sense to all of you? What's the logic that I'm talking about? I'm saying if the value first dot div is 1, it should start accumulating the numbers. The moment it sees the last dot 1, it should throw that to the output. Getting it?
Yes,
Yes, plus?
Sajid sir. Over here, I have a question. That as we did that data set of Frankfurt and London, uh, जहाँ पे हम लोगों को like we combine all the variables, all the observations of London at one side and then Frankfurt of another side, and then हम उसमें mean median mode calculate कर रहे थे. ठीक है, सो हम उसी तरीके से हम सम भी तो कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं, उनको पूरा एक साथ क्लस्टर करके एंड देन फिर हम सम कैलकुलेट कर देते हैं, तो दैट विल सॉल्व द सेम पर्पस, राइट?
I'm sorry.
Like, hello, am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, सर आई एम सेइंग दैट जब हम लोगों ने वो फ्रैंकफर्ट वाला जो लंदन वाला डेटा सेट किया था,
हाँ,
तो हमने सबको अलग अलग डिवाइड करके उनको अलग अलग क्लब्स, मतलब कि हम लोगों ने अलग अलग क्लब में बना लिया था उनको, एंड देन हम उन पे मीन मोड मीडियन वगैरह लगा रहे थे
right,
कि अगर
right.
हमें देखना था कि हमें कि लंदन में मैक्सिमम सैलरी, मिनिमम सैलरी या फिर मीन सैलरी कितनी गई है लोगों को, तो वो हमने देखा, राइट? सो दैट्स व्हाट आई एम सेइंग कि हम
हाँ,
सेम ही मेथड से हम इसका टोटल भी तो निकाल सकते हैं, सो विल दैट सॉल्व द सेम पर्पस, राइट?
हाँ, उसका उसमें भी आपका उसमें आप क्लास वेरिएबल यूज करते हो बेसिकली टू डिफाइन कि किस किस बेसिस पे आपको सम निकालना है, एंड यू कैन
हाँ
फिगर
जी,
यू कैन डू दैट ओवर देयर,
हाँ
राइट?
जी,
सो
तो
या यू कैन डू इट फ्रॉम देयर एज वेल, यू कैन डू इट फ्रॉम दैट
हाँ
एज
जी,
वेल.
ओके ओके ओके।
हाँ, so okay, so now this is a different technique. So this is basically something related to the retain variable. So that is why like we should be knowing that how this technique works over here. Okay, so now what I was telling you over here was, so what I'm trying to achieve in this is, so if I see that this is the first row, so this I accumulate it, and this I throw it into the output. So how will I write this code? Can anyone try writing a code? I have given you the logic. Can anyone think or try to write a code over here so that it gives us the desired output? Just try it once. I mean, if you will just try to write it logically, I mean, from the things that I've told you, so it's just two steps that you need to write, two if conditions. That's it. Nothing more than that. Okay. Right, Aman. So first dot diff. So it is first dot diff. So we are going in the right direction. So let's create a data set. So I was already creating it. So let's just continue over here. So I have defined that by. The moment I define by over here, you will get that first dot div and last dot div, right? So what I will do is I will say if first dot div is equals to 0, then अगर मेरा फर्स्ट डॉट डिव की वैल्यू उसको 0 मिलती है तब उसको क्या करना चाहिए, राइट? सो देयर आर टू थिंग्स दैट आई विल हैव टू डू. जो मैं एक रिटेन वाला वेरिएबल क्रिएट करूंगा, राइट, दैट हैज टू बी इनिशियलाइज्ड टू 0. Okay, so what I am saying is, say suppose I am creating a column that is div sal, जो मतलब डिवीजन वाइज जिसमें टोटल वैल्यूज एक्यूमुलेट होंगे, उसको मैंने इनिशियलाइज किया 0. ओके, एंड प्लस जब वो इनिशियलाइज हो गया 0, राइट, अब उसकी वैल्यू इनिशियलाइज हो गई, अब उसको मैं रिटेन करना स्टार्ट करता हूँ, राइट? तो रिटेन करने के लिए मैं क्या लिख सकता हूँ? कैन आई राइट दिस div cell plus your what was that, salary, right? Can I do it? Am I right? तो जैसे उसको फर्स्ट डॉट डिव 0 नहीं, सॉरी मैंने गलती की, फर्स्ट डॉट डिव उसको 1 मिला, उस हमने जिस वेरिएबल में वैल्यू एक्यूमुलेट करनी है उसको पहले हमने 0 पे इनिशियलाइज कर दिया और फिर उसको एक्यूमुलेट करते हुए चल रहे हैं, div cell plus cell. That is what I am doing. Then I am saying if last dot div equals to 1, then output. अगर उसको लास्ट डॉट div की वैल्यू उसको 0 मिलती है तो वो उसको उस रो को आउटपुट में भेजते हैं. That's it. So that is the code that will serve our purpose. So let's try to execute it and let's see what is the output that I get. So let's check the log. So it is created and I can see operations का मुझे information मिल गया यहाँ पे. I can see these variables coming up over there. उनका total आ गया मेरे को salary का, right? So I can see the overall total. और मुझे अब ये columns अगर नहीं चाहिए तो I can simply write a command drop employee ID and employee salary, because ultimately तो मुझे अब सिर्फ इस डेटा से मतलब है, बाकी मुझे नहीं चाहिए. And so like Agriti, like we mentioned that proc means, right? So I was just thinking on that. So if you use that proc means, right? Proc means और इसमें एक difference है if you see it over here. वहां पर आप proc means में क्या कर रहे हो? एक right away एक output generate कर रहे हो, correct? अब सीधा सीधा एक आउटपुट जनरेट कर रहे हो, बट यहाँ पे अगर आप देखो तो व्हाट वी आर डूइंग इज वी आर क्रिएटिंग अ डेटा. हम एक पूरा डेटा सेट क्रिएट कर रहे हैं, तो इसमें बस एक एडवांटेज आपको ये मिलेगा इफ यू वांट टू ऐड सम कैलकुलेटेड कॉलम्स. समरी वाली रिपोर्ट के अंदर आपको कुछ कैलकुलेटेड कॉलम चाहिए. फॉर एग्जांपल ये डिवीजन सैलरी है मेरा 41,000 और आपको उसके बेसिस पे बोनस डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना है. सो यू विल बी एबल टू ऐड दोज कॉलम्स ओवर हियर, बट आप उस प्रॉक मींस में उस चीज को ऐड नहीं कर पाओगे, राइट? बिकॉज प्रॉक प्रोसीजर्स आर समथिंग दैट थ्रो यू एन आउटपुट. Okay, is this clear to all? So I can share this code as well with all of you. Okay. So let me move ahead. Okay, if anyone has doubt, please let me know before I move ahead on this. Okay, so now the another data set that I'll pick over here is that is so Samir, if you want to throw this output to another file, I mean as in you want to print it into a PDF file, something is sort of for stuff, are you talking about that? So for that you will use that ODS that we studied, right? Output delivery system, ODS HTML file or ODS Excel file. So you can print and save that output into the different file formats. You will have to write a proc print and you will be able to save that into any the file that you want. Okay, so now I'll pick up another data set over here, and that data set is we have region 6. See, we have one more data set. It is just an extension of this. Okay, in the previous data set we had employee ID, salary, region, division. We didn't have the column of region. Okay, now if suppose my requirement is I want to create a summary report where I want to show that in region wise, right, like in east region, how much salary I gave in the human resource, how much salary I gave in finance, likewise. Then for west region, how much salary I gave in the human resource and finance, likewise. For all the regions, I want to create a summary report division wise, and I want to see the total salaries. Is the question clear to all of you? So how we will achieve that? Okay. So in order to explain you that thing, what I'm doing is I'm just switching back to the Excel. Okay. This was the data that we had. Okay, that we created. Now the only change that will come in this is I will have the column of region also into it. Okay, we will have a column of region as well over here. Say suppose this is east region, and this is west region. Okay, this is the data that I have. Now, first of all, your first step will be you will have to sort the data on the two column basis. First on the region and then on the division. That is what your sorting will be. That will be your first step. Then you will say by, you will be writing your command by region and division. So you will say this. The moment you use by region and division, what will happen is there will be four variables that will be created. Okay, there will be four variables that will be created. First dot region, last dot region, then you will have first dot div, and then last dot div. So these are the variables that you will get. Okay, now let me just explain you what is happening over here. Now east is coming for the first time, it will be 1, last will be 0. Okay, so I will tell you the logic. I think you will be able to, or will be able to write the code by yourself also without any much challenge. Where is that gone? The Excel. Okay, so are you all with me? Right? If I just explain you these things. So first dot, what's happening here? So first dot region is 1, last dot region is 0. What will be first dot division? This will be 1 and this will be 0. Okay, now all of the values will be 0 over here. Same will happen over here. All the values will be 0. Up till here, I will get all of them as 0. Now what will happen is this will still be a 0, and over here it will become this will also be 0, this will be 0, and this will be 1, right? And then the moment the next division starts, so the same process will start over there as well, right? So you will get 1, 0, 0, 0, right? And then you will get all the zeros over here. So you will might be thinking that I'm just repeating the steps, but it's not that. Okay, the change that will come over here is that when the region changes, okay, when the region changes, what happens in that case is when the region changes, so this will be 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. So the moment the region changes, right, in this case you might not be able to see. So for example, let me give you this output over let me just change the data a little bit over here for all of your understanding purpose. Yep, so over here, okay, I've just made these also finance, and I am just deleting these for now. Actually, my keyboard is giving me a little challenge today. Okay, yeah, row number 10, row number, yes, yeah, this should also be 0, right? So thanks for this. Actually, this will be 0. I have just made a wrong change. No, this will be 0. Yes, this will be 1. So I made by mistake. This had to be 1 over here. Okay. Now, up till here, is this clear to all of you? What I have done up till east direction? Is it clear to all the people? Anyone, any doubts on this section? Okay. So now if you see over here, in this west region. Now, how will the numbers will start? So now, if you see, west is coming for the first time. So first dot region will be 1. This last will be 0. What should come over here? Okay, so what should come over here? If you see, finance is continuing from the previous region also. Finance was there in the previous region and this is now continuing in the west region. So what should come over here? See, if you will try to see logically, we should get, 0 only, right? You should get 0 only. But what happens over here is you will actually be getting 1 in this case and 0 over here. Why so? Because if you have, two levels that you would have defined, region and div, by default, what happens is if the upper level, right, upper level that is region, if this will be changed to 1, it will automatically switch the inner region also into 1. So it will forcefully, it will not let it be 0, it will also convert it into 1. So as a result of this, what will now you get is you will get 1 over here. And then again, the same process will follow. You will get 0 across everywhere. Okay, so you will get the zeros everywhere over here, and in the last row, finally you will get 0, 1, 0, and 1. Is this clear? The logic that we have written over here. Okay. So now once you get 0, 1, 0, 1 over here, now the only thing that you all need to do over here is you simply need to just write that code. You will say you want to, if you want to see the data on the regional basis, you can also see that. If you want to see the region and division, everything to be coming over here, that can also be achieved, right? So you will say if this region, if first dot region equals to 0 and 1, that is the logic that you have to use over here. Can you all quickly write this out now? So I have given you the logic over here. I'll just expect all of you to write this code for it. Okay, if you want to see the output at region and division level, so you will use first dot region equal to 1, then start adding up. If first region equal to 1 and this of equal to 1, then start adding it up. And if the last dot division equal to this comes as the 1, throw it into the output. That is what you all need to write, right? So I will just write the code for the level of your region. Rest I will leave it up to you, from where you all can try and write that code. Okay, so let me just share that as it is. Okay, so how will you do it? So we have this code over here. I will say I want to create the data. Let us call it as summary R data set. The command that I want to use is, that is the reg sales. Okay, and you will simply use by, so first I will have to also sort this data. So by region and division, so you have to sort the data first. So I'm just writing this command that if first dot region equals to 1, then you can simply add up the numbers. You will say div cell equals to 0, everything remains the same, and you say div cell plus salary. Okay, and if last dot region equal to 0, then output. Okay, this is the code that you all need to write and try it out. But just before executing it, please ensure that you have sorted this data out. Okay, so before we move, before we close up the session, so I would just like to give you all some instructions. Like tomorrow we will be learning the SQL. Okay, so how many of you are comfortable with the SQL over here? I'm not sure if I asked this up or how many are not. So the people who are not comfortable, you can just leave your reply. Okay, no saying no. Okay, so in order to give you the background and so that you can understand the implementation of the SQL. So what you all should do is see, because the same SQL queries that we write on the databases, SQL is like common. If you know SQL, you can write the queries in your Tableau also, R also, Python also, SAS or the SAS also, SQL Server, MySQL, Oracle. Everywhere the SQL remains the same. That means if you know SQL, that means you can work on multiple tools without any hesitation or glitch. Okay, so that is why if you would like to learn or understand more about it, I will advise, I'm just I'll share a couple of links with you. Okay, just what you can do is you all can download the SQL Server. Okay, it's a free edition. You don't have to pay any amount for that. SQL Server Express Edition. Okay, so just come to this link. I'm just putting this link onto the chat as well. Once you come onto this link, okay, download this Express Edition. It is very easy to download and install. You just have to download it and then run the setup. It will ask you for basic and custom. Choose basic over there. Okay, just choose basic and let the things flow. So your SQL Server Express will be downloaded. Okay, please make a note of it so that you do not miss out anything. Once this SQL Server Express will be downloaded, then you have to come to the new link. Once this installation will be done, you have to come to this link over here. So I'll just put this link as well. After the first installation is done, it will take approximately 30 to 40 minutes in order to get completely installed. Then you have to come over here on this link. I'm just sharing this link as well. From this link, just click over here. It will download SQL Server Management Studio. So this is an application with the help of which you will be able to use SQL Server. So this is the second thing that you will have to install. Without this, you will not be able to use it. So just get these two things installed and ready so that I can show you the things, how the things will work on the SQL Server, plus add your SAS at the same time. Okay. So that is all, I think we will have for the class today. I hope you all have understood that process of installation of SQL Server. Okay. Okay, class. So see you all tomorrow. So just get these things ready so that we can start with it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all. So see you all tomorrow.